A customer wanted her ice cream crunchy, so I made it crunchy. Briefly during the pandemic, I worked as a manager at a Ralph's, a NYC area ice cream chain, and one night as I'm helping out scooping, I hear a customer getting annoyed at the window and starting to get snippy with one of the young kids who was working the window, so I head over to smooth the situation as manager. The woman is mad because the hot fudge on her hot fudge sundae is hot and going to melt the ice cream. I explain to her that hot fudge is indeed served hot, but she insists, so I make her a new sundae with magic shell topping instead and let her keep the hot fudge one. By the time I return with that, this customer is stirring her spoon through another cup of cream ice, kind of like a sherbet, she ordered, obviously about to complain about it. The flavor she ordered was called Graham Crunch and she proceeded to tell me that there wasn't any Graham Crunch in it, that she orders this flavor all the time and she knows that I am intentionally stiffing her. I tell her that this is just how the flavor is and I don't name or make the ice cream, but she isn't having it. She wants me to fix it. We've got some crushed graham cracker topping in the back, so as she is berating me, I just walk away from her and grab the entire container and come back to the window with it. At this point, we've got a line of people down the block because this lady has held us up, so there are lots of witnesses to what I was about to do. Without breaking eye contact with her as she continues to tell me that I'm wrong about the ice cream I scoop 6 days a week, I open the lid of the container and empty the entire thing over her cup of the offending ice cream. Graham crackers are everywhere. Her ice cream is now definitely crunchy. She loses her mind at this and starts yelling at me she knows the owner and will get me fired. I tell her yeah, Steve is a nice guy, and she responds with I've known Steve a long time, to which I respond well, his name is John. Get out of here and don't bother my employees for free ice cream again. Now sufficiently embarrassed in front of the long line of customers, the lady leaves in a huff and indeed never returns. The next few customers left us $20 tips in the jar to make up for her, so the kids who worked for me left with quite a bit more in their pockets than they normally would and realized that their manager had their back.
Now to the comments. The Steve John switch up is genius. I'm going to use that if I ever get in a situation similar to this one. I'm impressed with your quick wit to think of that on the spot like that. Very impressive.
I should have used that at my last job. The name of the restaurant was my boss' name, so it would have been even better to pull a bait and switch on them.
There's a restaurant here named after the original owners. They've been dead for over a decade, and their daughter owns it now. One of the few things that will get someone permanently banned is threatening any of the employees with either of the named owners. And by permanently banned, I mean including a properly witnessed criminal trespass notice, so if you come back to the most popular cafe in the county, you spend the night in jail. As the employee, I would definitely be happy to have such a nice manager.
As the employee, I would definitely be happy to have such a nice manager. As a customer, I'd be happy to have such an awesome manager. Those are the types of places that earn a lifetime of patronage.
If I was behind this lady and saw this happen, I would definitely come back. Managers need to stop bowing down to these people. They make the entire experience worse for everyone and makes us not want to return. Kick them out. Customer, refusing to leave manager. OP, very well, unleash the graham crackers.
OP replied. Release the graham kraken.
My brain went to Graham Kraken and I thought of a Grandma Kraken, knitting tentacle warmers for her darling grandchildren and pulling a batch of fresh Sailor cookies out of the oven. You really scooped her with changing the name of the owner. That was the best topping of all.
She definitely got flaky after that mistake.
While the manager stayed cool as ice. People as a general population are so ducking sick of these people. I'm really glad you did this and didn't give in to her bullshit entitled attitude. Was this a drive-through or a walk-up window?
OP replied. A walk-up window. Folks were especially annoyed because it was still the middle of the pandemic and they didn't want to stand in line with lots of other people.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was about to be the unpopular one here talking about how you shouldn't have poured that stuff in her car. Ha. Good work then. That also makes sense for the other customers to know the specifics of what went down to offer those nice tips. Customer is always right has to be the most toxic ideas ever created.
The phrase originally meant whatever the market wants is what you should sell, but Karens and Kens have misappropriated and bastardized it into you have to do whatever I tell you because I know better than you. The truth is, the customer doesn't know shit, and is most likely wrong, which is why they're dealing with you and not doing your job themselves.
They never finish it. Customer is always right in knowing what they want. This sort of thing is typically why I wouldn't give someone the previous food item unless we definitively messed up. We would make them a new one, but I would make a point of looking right at them as I dumped the one that was bad in the trash. Sometimes they kept a straight face, other times they'd say, "Oh well, I was still going to eat it." Then I'd ask them why they said it was unacceptable before if it's fine now. At that point, the customer usually goes quiet and just takes the remake, which is probably identical to the one in the trash, without complaint.
These ladies came up to the counter and handed me their food, said it was made incorrectly. The bread had gotten switched so it was the correct sandwich, just the wrong bread, so I went to grab the boxes so I could show the manager and have them remade. The second lady comes up and takes a bite out of the incorrect sandwich she was trying to get replaced. I asked if they wanted both remade and they gave me the most incredulous look. If you're still eating the sandwich, why do you want it remade?
WTH. It's hot fudge, of course it's warm, it's supposed to melt the ice cream a bit, Karen. It's the wonderful mix of cold warm that makes it why you have pie/cobbler a la mode. God, I hate cheap ass people that eat a meal but then try to get it free by complaining. The audacity. Thank you for being a good manager, realizing the customer isn't always right.
I despise people like that. But I work retail at a drugstore chain that serves mainly old people and Karens, so I see people like that all the time.
Oh, I've worked my fair share of retail. I know all about entitled PPL. As bad as it is in retail, it's even worse in restaurants. I'm a professional chef. Even at high-end establishments, you get these kinds of Karens on occasion, but not nearly as much as chains. It's worse for Karens though at high-end places, because then they'll straight blacklist you from coming back. Have dedicated social media management so when they invariably try to review bomb online they get called out very quickly. I'm happy someone else baited the customer into the "I know the owner" bit. Last time I did it, the person left their food and drink, then decided to complain on Google how I made them a fool by leading them with false information.
The audacity. I hope the business owner answered to that review.
Yes, but not the way you'd think. The owner was a dick. Too busy looking at potential loss than actual loss. They got a free meal. I have plenty of stories of this place, just very little malice compliance, just sweet revenge stories and shit practices. I had a free award. Now you have it.
Did the same. A good manager needs some awards.
That is awesome. Say when, which. What is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women. As you dump a whole box of graham cracker topping over their ice cream mid-complaint. Conan's Shakes and Sundays. Malicious compliance. More like delicious compliance. As a customer in line behind people like her, I would definitely be happy the employees have such a nice manager.